Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel again. Still working on the Tall T project here, dealing with some pretty serious winter. This year's only had two seasons. We went from winter to summer, missed spring, and looks like now we've gone from summer to winter and missed fall. So I don't know if that makes the year shorter, but it's sure going to make for a long winter. So anyhow, I'll show you what we're doing, what we got done. I started out, I installed a couple brackets, made a couple custom brackets here to install the front brake hoses. Got them on both sides, they're in with clips and ready to go. The other thing I've been working on is a set of side pipes. I've got the passenger side all done. Turned out pretty awesome. What I've got is I bought a 90 degree with 6-inch legs, and I bought a 60 degree that comes with, I think they're 12 or 16-inch legs, which was unexpected because when I asked they said they were 6-inch legs. And then I have what I call a Sweet Talker performance muffler. It's called a blank, and the reason it's called a blank is because the ends haven't been swedged down. This is a baffled style muffler, and I'll just show you one here. I have the one for the driver's side on the bench, and I have the first half of the 90 welded on this end. And if we look at it from the end, you can see it's got a 2-inch baffle tube in it. So what happens with these, they flow really well. When I worked at Minute Muffler, I dealt with this company. Actually, the current owner, the current owner of Motivair Canada, it's called. It's located in Elmira, Ontario. He started working at Motivair for the original owners in 1977, the same year, coincidentally, that I started working for Minute Muffler in Winnipeg. And I reconnected with him via another YouTuber that really likes coming from Ontario to southwest Saskatchewan and found my channel. And that's how I found out that his Uncle Brad owns the business now. So these mufflers, normally when you buy them, they come shrunk down on the ends to 2-inch, 2 1/4. And when I was at Minute Muffler, we did flow testing on these. And I believe the shorter ones, the 20-inch shell instead of the 28, swedged down to 2 1/4, flowed 440 or 450 CFM a piece. We don't have the choke down on the ends, so these should easily flow about 500 CFM a piece, which will be lots for this, going through 4-inch pipes. They also make a version that competes really well with a glass pack, and it has a steel baffle that's centered and just offset slightly. You can still see through it, but it does take the tone down about the same as a glass pack, but you never have the issues of the glass burning out. So I'll put a link in the description for Motivair Canada. And Brad out there, if you guys are interested, he's got good pricing. He does a lot of OE stuff. If you're restoring a car and you want proper date codes and everything, that's kind of what he's specializing in now. So on the, I'll just take you over to the side I'm going to be working on here. Might have to come back here for the tripod. Maybe not. Anyhow. Okay, so I've got my muffler sitting in there. This is the other half of my 90. I made my flanges super tight on the 4-inch so that I can tap this in. I tap it in halfways, and then I weld it around the inside onto the flange. So from this point now, what I have to do is I have to cut a piece of straight 4-inch tubing to join these two together at the right angles, fine tune all my adjustments here, and then tack weld everything together. And then at the back end, I take my 60 degree bend and I cut a slash on it. Here's my 60 degree bend. I'll take and I cut a slash I have a measurement for it, and then shorten it up, and that's what I use for my turnout on the back end of this. So once I get going here, I'll bring you guys back, show you the procedures and everything for tacking it in. One other thing that I do here, hopefully this ain't hot still, is when I install the first elbow on the muffler, I line up the baffle with the outside, because when the exhaust comes into here, it's going to be flowing down the outside of the pipe. This is where all the pressure will be, and it'll go straight into the baffle, which will help with flow. So bring you back here in a bit. Once I have the orientation, I have my pipe set exactly where I want it for height. Distance here is the same as the other side. Distance out from the frame is the same. I have the faces of these two 45-degree bends here, which was the 90 cut in half. I can measure from here to here, and I can cut a piece of 4-inch straight. I'll have to make sure my cuts are dead straight on there. On my flange, I've got the orientation of where the 90 or the 45 comes out of it, and then I also marked on top so that I don't lose my orientation on the flange itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to make sure my flange is square or my pipe is square inside my flange, and then I can tack weld that, and I can show you the rest of this setup here. Once I made sure everything was centered and square, what I did was I made sure that the pipe was about halfway into my flange, and then I tack weld it. When I take this off for final welding, let me turn this, stay, I will run a nice bead all the way around the inside. And what that does is it keeps the outside nice and clean. You got no crappy welds, because normally welding in a spot like this, it's really tough to get a nice clean bead. So, okay, now we can go over to the other side, and I'll show you the procedure I used for cutting or getting my measurement for the pipe. Okay, and for checking the alignment on my two pipes, I have a set of dividers that I go in with, and I check in 4 spots all the way around, and this will give me the length of the piece that I need. So I'll cut that, and then we can do the final fitment up here. Okay, so we've got our piece cut and welded in. Well, tack welded in here. I cut my second down, and my turnout, set the angle to exactly the same as the passenger side. Now I'm just going to take everything apart and do all my welds, and then I can show you how I put a hanger on at the back here to hold everything up. Okay guys, this is the style of hanger I use. Let's see if I can get this one turned a little bit. So what I normally do with these is I cut this end off, pull it all apart, and bend my own. On this type of hanger, you want to be able to have a little bit of movement for pipe stretch. And then what I've done here is I drilled and tapped the frame with 5/16 fine thread, mounted the hanger part there, and then I'll build my own custom rod for it here. So we'll get the pipe bolted up here, and then I can make the rod and do the final weld on. Okay, here's a look at the hanger bracket, custom bent. So what I've done here is I've allowed a little bit of movement here for the pipe to grow when it gets hot, and clearance here so that if it does, it's not going to run into the frame. This will support it both up and down and in and out. It's welded quarter of the way around the pipe. Just turn the light around here. I've got this one all bent up and ready to go. It's going to get welded on right there. and that'll wrap up the side pipe job on this. So I'll get this welded on, guys, and then I can set it on the ground. Okay, guys, that wraps up the exhaust side pipes on this unit. I think they really look awesome. Really suits this car. They're great big meaty 4-inch pipes. One thing I forgot to mention, I once again used Lyle's stainless steel exhaust for the elbows and stuff. While they use a really good high quality pipe, heavy gauge, you can buy stainless or aluminized as well as aluminum. So anything from, I think, 1.5 up to 6 inch they supply. Like I said, good quality product, but the quality of workmanship leaves a little to be desired. Last time I used them, the 90s were only about 85 degrees. I noticed that the 60s weren't quite 60 this time. And I asked for 2 12-inch pieces of 4-inch because I thought I might run a little bit short on tubing because of the leg length of the elbows. And it looked like somebody cut the 1-foot pieces with a butter knife or something. They're nice, and I mean, there's no sharp edges on them, but I had to cut 1 inch off the end of each of those because they were so crooked. So you can't use them right out of the box. So if Lyle's would just step up the quality a little bit, they'd be an awesome supplier, but I don't think it's enough that I wouldn't use them. In fact, I'm going to keep using them because the heavy product, I really like that. The stuff you get from China is quite a bit thinner. So anyhow, guys, that wraps up the T for this video. Next thing I'll be doing is some brake lines, steel brake lines, and then that'll be it for me on this for a while. It's going to go home, and I'm going to start on some other projects. So thanks for tuning in. Glad to see you, and we're getting real close to 500 subs here. Hoping in the next 2-3 weeks we can get it up to 500. So thanks again, guys. Take care.